The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Josh Richards from Merit Solutions, and I want to thank you all for joining us today for our demo of Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. I want to first preface this call noting that I live in Minneapolis. We received 15 inches of snow over the weekend. I have 3 kids under 5. So please excuse me if I need to clear my throat or take a water break here as we go through the presentation. I am feeling a little raspy today, but we'll try to get through this. So we have a lot to cover over the next 45 minutes. I do want to recognize and respect the fact that our main presenter today, my colleague Chris Berg on the screen, will be demoing in back-to-back meetings this morning. So we do hope to end a little early today and give you all 15 minutes of day back. Before diving into the meat of our discussion of our presentation, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to set the stage for what we hope to cover. I plan on taking a couple of minutes to briefly introduce why we're here and then get into Microsoft Dynamics 365, the Finance and Operations app, and Merit Solutions. I really only have a couple of slides to go through, so this certainly won't be death by PowerPoint, and then we'll get into the actual demo of Dynamics 365. Give me 1 second for a water break. All right, sorry about that. So I figured we'd start with this slide because at Merit Solutions, we truly do believe that we're going through a digital revolution. And much like the previous 3 industrial revolutions of steam, electricity, and the rise of computers and the internet, the digital revolution is bound to drive really dramatic and lasting transformations. So before going any deeper, I think it's important to note that the digital revolution is being driven by the rise of big data, the growth of the cloud, and new intelligence capabilities, including mobile apps, IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence, all of that. So it's commonly talked about that data is a key strategic asset, but as companies have so much access to data, it's becoming increasingly difficult to really understand how to make that data useful. So we're here to talk about why we think Microsoft as a platform is well positioned to help companies navigate the digital revolution with Dynamics 365 and the Azure Business Platform. Let me go to the next slide. So as we move slides here and refocus on what is in Dynamics 365, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, over the last year and a half, we've seen a shift in the Microsoft Business Apps landscape. Traditionally, Dynamics has been split into what we call ERP or CRM systems. With the release of Dynamics 365, Microsoft has really set themselves apart with what is truly an integrated enterprise business platform. Not only does it handle those traditional back office processes and what used to be ERP, but it also links it up with what was known as CRM. And on this slide, you see that in the marketing, service, and sales functionalities. But it doesn't end there, as Dynamics 365 also includes functionality for talent, which is what we have known as traditional HR, for project service automation, for retail, for field service, and so much more. So I think the key here is that Microsoft is now providing a platform to cut down on interfacing costs and silos of functional data, working with analytics tools like Power BI and your productivity tools like Office 365, trying to provide a way for companies to have easy access to all their enterprise data and do that through one single business platform and enabling them to more easily accomplish tasks that go across business groups or locations. And so not only does that platform enable cross-team collaboration and improve effectiveness, it also can scale and grow with you. And so we like to look at Microsoft Dynamics 365 really as the last business platform you'll ever need to implement. And then while the Microsoft Business Platform includes all of those different integrated functionalities that we talked about, today we're really here to focus specifically on the Finance and Operations app. And so I wanted to spend just a minute to give some context into the functionality and solution set of the Finance and Operations app. So starting at the top of the screen, we can see that there are many different ways for users to interface with or interact with the data inside the application, whether that's through a mobile phone or a tablet, a web browser on your PC, or other tools like Power BI. Stepping down then in terms of actual business capabilities and functionality, there are numerous functional areas within the Finance and Operations app. So you can see that it covers supply chain management, production, finance, retail. So I wanted to show this slide just to give you a sense of the robust capabilities of the solution. And then finally at the bottom, at the core of all of that is the power of the Microsoft Cloud. And so Microsoft Dynamics 365 is hosted on the Microsoft Azure platform, which not only delivers the solution in a consumption-based model where you pay only for what you use each month, but it also provides companies with the best capabilities of the Microsoft Azure stack, which includes the Internet of Things, IoT, machine learning, and so much more. So I guess on to my last slide here. Wanted to give a quick introduction to Merit Solutions, who we are as an organization, to help frame our discussion and where we're coming from. I know that there's a lot going on the screen right now, but really at our core, Merit Solutions is a consulting firm. We're headquartered in Chicago. We have 5 offices throughout the US and Europe. Our strategy is really to be deep and not wide. So we focus 100% on that Microsoft business platform. And I think we're really unique right now in terms of Microsoft consulting organizations, as our expertise reaches across the entire platform, from those traditional ERP and CRM apps all the way to the newer digital capabilities such as mobile apps, IoT, machine learning. So we're capable of being your single source provider of all your digital technology needs. And that's just not something we've seen many other organizations capable of promising. But I think what's most important to our clients, and what I think those of you on the call today are more concerned with, are client satisfaction scores. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is a trailing representation of the previous 15 quarters of client satisfaction scores, where you can notice that our clients consistently rate us above a 4 out of 5. Again, we think this is extremely rare in this space in particular, where Gartner says 55 to 75% of projects fail to achieve their desired objectives. So we're really proud of those scores, and we do whatever we can to achieve successful outcomes for all of our clients. So with that, I think we're through all of my slides and we're ready to dive into our demo. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Chris Berg, and let him dive into the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations app. Chris, I will go ahead and hand controls over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. So what we're going to cover today in the demonstration of Dynamics 365 for Operations, we're going to first go over the navigation and overview, and then we'll be talking about the Microsoft ecosystem. From there, we'll talk about some workspaces and some personalizations, how you can custom tailor the D365 for Operations for each user and each role. We'll go into the direct integration to Excel and actually opening some forms in Excel directly. And then we'll also talk about the task guides and the task recording functionality and how we utilize that at Merit. And then I did want to spend some time talking about some Power BI and some natural query language. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully everyone can see it. What you're looking at here is the home page of Dynamics 365 for Operations, and Microsoft has gone to great lengths to make the navigation of Dynamics 365 for Operations simple, intuitive, similar to some of their other core products within the Office 365 or Office landscape. They want to make sure that the learning curve is much smaller than other ERPs, and that there's an easier early adoption. So like I mentioned, the similarity to other Microsoft products, also having those other Microsoft products embedded in the application will make that learning curve much easier. One of the first things I did want to point out is, as you can see, we are actually on a web page. Josh mentioned that the Azure cloud is is a big component of D365 for operations. It absolutely is. It's incredibly powerful. One of the benefits of having this being web-based is that you can access the application from any device that can get onto the internet. So whether that be you're traveling in an airport working and you need to hop on, or you're on an airplane and you need to get into the application through Wi-Fi, you are able to do that. And, previous versions or other ERPs, you might need a dedicated server to do that. But with the Azure cloud and its power, you are able to access the application any place you can have an internet connection. So, that productivity is no longer limited to a dedicated machine or server. You have all the power in the cloud right at your fingertips. I did want to point out that, some people might have some fears about the cloud. The great thing about the cloud, about the Azure capabilities, is that you still control your own instances, you still control your own code base, and you still own your own data. So it's really just a vehicle for you to access and power all of your machines or all of your instances and all of your code and all of your own data. Another nice feature too is the license scalability now. With Dynamics 365 for operations, you're only paying for what you use and the users that you have and the licenses that you are utilizing. That allows you to ramp up and scale up with your business. If you want to, let's say, start with core financials, you only have a certain number of users utilizing the system with core financials, then you can start adding on other modules or other processing features such as production or, fixed assets, budgeting, those, additional capabilities. You don't have to, purchase all of those at once. You only purchase licenses for what you are using at that point in time. It's great not being forced into that kind of shotgun approach. You can plan your various phases around those features and functionalities, enabling your, the software to match your business. So as your business grows, you can go ahead and configure the application to meet your business. So as we dive into the software a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and choose our navigation pane, or our 3 lines here. What's great about the application, just like a web browser, we can tag favorites within the application itself. We can go back and look at what recent forms and modules I've been in, and one of the new pieces for Microsoft Dynamics 365 is the Workspaces. And what you're seeing over here in tiles are what are called Workspaces. It is new to D365. It has been a game changer. Typical ERPs are going to utilize what are called modules, and I'll just show you what that looks like for an example. And Microsoft D365 still has these. They're still available for those system admins or power users. And I'll just go ahead and launch the accounts payable module. As you can see here, we have a whole list of forms for both setup, maintenance, reporting. All of these lists can be pretty daunting for someone that's using the system for the first time or remembering what form lies in which module. What Microsoft has done is they have taken the applicable forms within each of these modules and they have dumped them into these workspaces. And what's great is all of these workspaces are tailored to each user's role that is in the system. So when you log into Dynamics 365, you're only going to see the workspaces pertinent to your role. You're looking at my screen right now. It's system admin based, so we're seeing everything. But if I go ahead and launch this particular application with a different user, in this case, I'm logged in as an accounts payable manager, you will see that only the workspaces for my role are included for my user. I did want to talk about the personalization and the usability while I'm here. I'll go ahead and click into vendor payments. For this scenario, I'm an AP manager and I want to take care of my vendor payment processing. And as I open up my workspace, obviously this is catered a lot differently than what we saw before in what is a module. In a workspace, we have all of our tiles or pertinent tiles over on the left, particular to this processing of vendor payments. Keep in mind, all of these forms and tiles and the way this is set up, this comes out of the box, what Microsoft has deemed applicable for that particular role. However, it's very easy to customize if you need to add, remove, based on the roles that you want to adopt. But what's great is all of these workspaces have our tiles particular to that, our daily tasks or counts. To give a quick summary of what I'm working on, we're going to have list pages in the center here. In this case, we're looking at invoices past due. I can click into payments not settled. What's great about this is, like I mentioned before, it's taking all of the complexities of those particular modules and only breaking it down to pertinent tasks based on role. And like I said, everything is out of the box. I did want to show how easy it is to personalize not just a workspace, but a form. If, within this workspace, I'm processing vendor payments, I can see vendors on hold, or I can jump into all my vendors or vendors past due. It's very easy that I can go ahead and I can remove these tiles, I can add them, and I can pull them in from different modules of the system. If I did want to go ahead and add the visibility for my vendors past due or vendors on hold back into my workspace, I can just choose my vendors past due form from the options, very easily choose add to workspace. I'm going to specify what workspace, how I want it configured. Is it a tile? Is it in a list page? Choose configure. Name the tile. In this case, I want vendors past due, and I want to show the count on the tile. I will choose OK. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to add that tile back to our workspace, in this case, vendors past due. In addition to being able to pull those pieces of information from other modules or other forms into my workspace, I can also take these summary tiles or other pieces of information, I can pin it to the home page that I was showing you before. Let me just show you what that looks like. In this case, if we have a vendor pay run of vendors or payment journals that we need to post, all I have to do is a quick right click, choose personalize, and then pin it to the dashboard, close off of this form, and come back to my home page or my dashboard. What's going to do is it's actually going to show me right here, my vendor pay run, clicked right into it, of our AP invoices that we need to pay that have not been posted. So we can set this up across all the different workspaces, across multiple modules, so that users, when they come in and they log into the system, they get that complete visibility, whether it's if they need to jump in a space and manage, individual tasks within the workspace, but we can also put, a number of these counts onto our dashboard. At Merit, it's kind of funny. We have a few different customers that have set up their workspaces with counts on their dashboards. They log into the system and they have counts across 4 or 5 different dashboards. And when those counts hit 0, they know it's time to clock out and go home for the day. So the flexibility of taking, a lot of the, complexities and the power of the system and putting it into an intuitive, easy to use interface so that every user can come in, log into the system, pertinent to their role, really makes it for an easy adoption of the system, and makes it for a much easier learning curve. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into my admin role and access here. I did want to talk about the Microsoft ecosystem. One of the things that is so great is not just having Microsoft other products integrated, but actually embedded into the software. I'm going to choose our breadcrumb bar, and it's going to pull in my apps right here. But I'm also going to go into all of the other apps that are available within the Dynamics 365 for operations. I'm sure some of these are very familiar to you. Excel, OneDrive, OneNote, Outlook. These are apps that I can have directly embedded into the 365 for operations. It's incredibly powerful. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. In addition to those, those standard apps that come with D365, there's also the ability to go ahead and grab more apps. Microsoft's App Store is called App Source. For those of you familiar with iTunes or the Apple presentation, this is very similar. However, the great thing about App Source is that these are all apps that have been designed, tried and tested and vetted out through Microsoft So what you're seeing here are applications that are specific to the product that you have. In this case, I'll just go ahead and choose finance and operations. It's going to apply a filter. For categories, I'll choose operations and supply chain management. And for industries, if I'm in healthcare and life science, I will go ahead and choose that. And all of these apps here are filtered down. They have all been approved to be hosted by AppSource through Microsoft. So you're not just going to be installing some type of junk and worry that it's going to crash your system. These have all been tested. And as you can see here, we actually have our own application called MaxLife that is used specifically around FDA validations and 21 CFR Part 11 compliance for a lot of our life science and healthcare industries. So AppSource is a great piece if you want to come in and add horsepower to your existing application, knowing that all of these apps have been vetted and approved by Microsoft. It's incredibly powerful. There's a lot of great pieces to come into the application and be able to grab an app to enhance your functionality or add power. One of the pieces I did want to show is that Excel integration. I am going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. Just simply, I will come into a general ledger and show you how a general journal can go ahead and can sync back and forth with Excel. I have a general journal already staged. I will go ahead and show you what that looks like. I'm just going to delete our second line here. And so we have a single line journal entry in a general journal. I know a lot of people are comfortable with doing either journal entries or other type of tasks like this in Excel. So what Microsoft has done is they have not just added the ability to extract or dump this in Excel, they've actually added the ability to open this journal in Excel and sync it back to the ERP directly. So what I'll do here is I will take our journal line and I'm going to choose open in Excel, general journal line entry. I do have the ability to export as well, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and open it in Excel. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up what's called a Microsoft sync. And that sync is called the Microsoft Dynamics Office add-in. What it's going to do is it is directly syncing to our ERP application. We'll give it just a second here as it pulls in the data for my journal entry. It's just retrieving the data as we speak through the data connector. What it's going to do is it's going to populate all of our fields in the journal entry with what I have directly in the ERP. So as this pops up and retrieves the metadata, sorry, it's taking a few minutes just because I had logged in with a different user in that other browser. But here's our journal batch number that we have created in the ERP. It tells us the description, the name, whether it's been posted, and it has pulled in my journal line. I can easily come in here. I can manipulate the journal line. But what's great is I have the ability to also create a new record. So if I hit create new, it's going to add a new line to my journal entry. And as I click on my Excel fields, in this case, I click on the date. Over in the right-hand corner, I specify the date for this journal line. I click on the company field. It's going to directly sync, just like the ERP. What company am I using for this journal line? What is the account type? Is it a ledger, customer, vendor? I can specify if I click into the main account field, it's going to pull up all of my main accounts directly within the ERP software. It's incredibly powerful to have that direct sync. I'll just choose something random on here for my account. I'm not going to leave a description, but another great option that I have is to be able to copy and paste directly onto my journal line. And from here, guess what? If I don't have any additional changes I need to make, or if I want to continue working in Excel, I can add more lines, but I can also choose publish, and publish is going to push my changes that I've made in Excel back up into the ERP. I did want to talk through this refresh button. If I have Excel open and I'm only working in Excel and there have been some changes within the ERP, it allows me to choose refresh, and those changes are going to sync back into the Excel that I'm working in. I'm just going to go ahead and choose publish to show you what this looks like. So as I choose publish, it's going to update our journal entry, and I come back into the application. I choose refresh, and sure enough, here's my second journal line. It's incredibly great. When I say great, I talk about it's incredibly powerful for users that are more familiar with Excel. This is the ability to open these number of forms in Excel is across a whole slew of forms and modules within the application. So for users that are heavy Excel users, they have the ability to do this in Excel. So it's, the use of adoption, or excuse me, the ability to adopt the system early on. If you're more comfortable working in Excel, it's just incredibly powerful stuff, but also flexible and accommodating to those power users. Some of the other things I did want to talk about that I did not cover yet is this nifty search bar up here. I know it is just a search bar, but those of us that have gone through different iterations of Dynamics know that this is it's a new tool that allows us to be able to search throughout the entire application. In this case, if I wanted to search on trial balance, I can go ahead and type it in, and it's going to bring up all the different options. If I choose financial dimensions, or if I type in financial, it's going to bring up all the different forms or modules, or in this case, workspaces that are particular to financial. So being able to search just through this text bar when you're first using the system, wow, I can't remember where do financial dimensions live, how do I get there? I can type it into the search bar. I did want to show the ability to extract some things to Excel. Trial balance is one of the keys, or not just keys, but a great feature. The ability to run a trial balance and take that information across a number of different financial dimensions that I have specified within the ERP application, and then this will cater to those that are finance heavy users, but being able to generate my trial balance and do research based on my business unit or department, or any custom financial dimensions you have, whether it's if you want to group by vendors, or if you want to do by location for your particular industry. I can, if I only wanted to look at business unit 001, I have the ability to just type that into my parameters and look here. Now I'm only looking at my trial balance by this particular business unit. I can do the same thing for all of my different departments, different search capabilities. I can sort these. I can, essentially use a lot of the same lookup and power that I have in Excel. But I did want to talk about the ability to take our trial balance and dump it out to Excel. I know I showed you the open in Excel before, but simply being able to take a trial balance by our different dimensions for analysis reporting in Excel, you'll be hard pressed to find another ERP that has this flexibility to do this in today's world. I know it sounds like pretty simple stuff, but believe me, it's to do this in other ERPs. It's a lot of modifications, a lot of setup and config and design and mapping back to different reports and account structures. Things can get complex pretty easily. The nice thing about Dynamics 365, this is all available out of the box. So another area Microsoft has really taken the bull by the horns here is by using what are called task guides. And we use task guides for one of our core products called Rapid 365. You can see the graphic up here. But I wanted to show you what the task guide looks like, and how we have used it at Merit Solutions in order to help a lot of our implementations deploy quicker and more efficient, especially through our our core financial type projects and phases. So what I can do to access our task recording, I can choose our wheel button up here, and I'll choose Task Recorder. And through Task Recorder, I have a bunch of different options. I can create recordings, I can play them as guides, I can edit them, I can play them back. I'm going to choose Play Recording as Guide and show you what this looks like. We mentioned Azure before. Azure uses what's called a hub called Lifecycle Services for all implementations of Microsoft Dynamics 365. It's a collaborative portal between partners and customers. However, I don't want to go into too much detail about Lifecycle Services today. I'll just use this as our library, and I will go ahead and choose our Lifecycle Services library information, and it's going to pull up all of the different tasks particular to what we have for Rapid 365. In this case, I will just go ahead and choose a task guide for purchase requisition processing, and it allows us to pull up these particular tasks that we have developed in-house based on industry standards at Merit Solutions. So in this case, create and submit purchase requisition, I will go ahead and open this task guide. What it's going to do is it's going to bring up all of the steps pertinent or needed to perform this task within the application. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and hit Start Task Guide. One of the great pieces about these task guides, it's not just a list of steps, it's actually interactive. It's going to walk me through processing these tasks directly within the application. I'll choose Start Task Guide, and immediately it's going to tell me use the navigation menu to select procurement and sourcing, purchase requisitions. I will go ahead and go to procurement sourcing and then purchase requisitions. From here, it's going to walk me through choosing the new button to create a new purchase requisition. It's going to have me create or enter a name. I'll just enter purchase requisition test. From here, it's going to tell me to choose OK. It is going to walk me through all of these processes from start to finish. So there's a lot of value in having these task guides, especially as part of our Rapid 365 solution. I did want to bring up the fact that there are a couple different ways to access these task guides and some of the other features behind them. Don't want to walk you through an entire purchase requisition. I'm just going to go ahead and stop the task guide here. Hopefully you got a feel for what that looks like. I did want to come back and show you that library that we have, though, as part of as part of our solution with Rapid. And I'll just go ahead and choose Open from Lifecycle Services. I'll choose the library. Just clicking into financials, if I choose in the general ledger, all of these are individual workflows that we have designed and developed based on our industry best practices and our experience working with our customers. So we have taken this task recorder and we have fully utilized the functionality available in D365 to create these different tasks. One of the great features is the ability to edit the task. Before I do that, though, I did want to show you the ability to choose what's called playback recording. This is great for if you need to do regression testing. I will go ahead and choose Open from Lifecycle Services. I'm going to select our library again. I'll find something simple like vendor management, put vendor on hold. I will choose OK. Now, when I use this and I can use the playback recording, I can, I'll just go ahead and choose Start, but I wanted to show you the ability here. I can actually click Play Next Pending Step, and the system is automatically going to play the next pending step. I'll go ahead and select that, and it's going to follow step 1, and it's going to open the navigation pane to, select accounts payable, vendors, all vendors. Now I can do this step by step, or I can choose play all pending steps. And the system, you'll see my mouse, I'm not moving it. The system is actually walking through this processor, this work stream behind the scenes, and it's actually going through all of these steps, which is incredibly powerful in terms of, are you going to be adding functionality to existing work streams, and the regression testing for ERP, if you do apply patches or if you do need a minor code change or modification, being able to come in and play back all of these task guides or these processes without, requiring users to come in and say, hey, I need you to go through purchase requisition to make sure that the new update is still working with our data. The ability to automatically do this, it's been a game changer on the ERP side. I did also want to point out that you can access the task recorder by help. So if I'm a new user to the system and my job is to create and submit a purchase requisition and I forget where do I go to do that, I can come in and choose the help text and just choose submit, and it's going to bring up all of our pieces that are particular to that particular task, which is great to be able to come in here and walk through all of those different processes. So in addition to accessing those task guides, one of the great pieces is the ability to document all of your standard operating procedures within the system. Like I showed you, it's like a VCR where you record the actions and then play it back. I did show you the ability to get there through the help. And I did want to show you the ability to come in to our task recorder and simply be able to modify an existing task. Oops. I think I accidentally chose yes to download that task recording. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and open another instance of our environment. And I did want to show you the ability to edit a task. The reason this is important is because, we get a lot of questions where users might say, hey, in the example, I just started working with 1099 vendors. And when I create a new vendor, I want to make sure I specify a tax ID or vendor 99 flag instead of having to come in and completely generate a whole new task guide for that vendor. All I have to do is take an existing task guide. In this case, I'm going to choose edit recording. I can choose my library, my lifecycle services, or where it's hosted in lifecycle services, and the ability to come in to that task guide and find our vendor management. And let's say it's process 1099s or put a vendor on hold. I can open that task guide, and sure enough, it's going to give me options to insert steps within this task guide. This is important if I have a task guide that's 25 steps and I just need to insert a new step at step 18 or 19. I don't have to recreate the whole thing, or if there's something where I need to delete a step, or I have the ability to move these steps around. So it gives me the ability to create our task guides and our standard operating procedures in a time and place in today's world where we're seeing a lot of high employee turnover. If we have someone that we need to onboard or train, I know everyone's probably seeing those 1,000-page binders of user guides and how are we going to train Bob or Sarah how to submit a purchase requisition. Guess what? It's all here in the ERP. Allows you to make changes to it. We're getting a lot of great feedback from CFOs, controllers about the ROI of using. I did want to now move into more of the Power BI dashboards and workspaces. One of the great enhancements to the workspaces, not just pulling in those role-specific tasks, but there have been a lot of advancements in actually pulling Power BI embedded reports and KPIs directly into the workspaces. I'm going to show you the CFO Overview workspace. This is something that Microsoft has been improving over and over again. The ability to open up these workspaces and get an instant pulse of your organization or something that's particular to your role. We have workspaces around AP, AR, customers, profitability, all those things. I'm just giving you kind of a high-level overview of the CFO Overview workspace. In this case, we just get a great snapshot, current ratio, margin, debt to asset, cost of goods sold. I get my EBIT. Can look at a revenue snapshot, and keep in mind all the data that we're looking at is directly synced to the ERP. This is in real time as invoices are posted, as transactions are posted, as financial accounts, if we process allocations, whatever it may be, all of those transactions are going to hit our dashboards in real time. I'll just click into revenue and expense insights. This gives me the ability to go ahead and look at my revenue and expenses by different regions or by categories. There is a lot of great capabilities within these Power BI dashboards. As you can see here, the ability to move into these maps. If I want to go ahead and just check my revenue and expenses by Texas, I'll click onto Texas, and the system's going to process behind the scenes, and it's going to filter out all of the revenue and expenses particular to the state of Texas. It's going to update all of our charts and graphs so that it is particular to Texas. It's the drill down capabilities are, they are incredible. I will move over to Subledger Insights. From Subledger Insights, I get the ability to view my subledger, whether it's products or customers or vendors. In this case, I can look at my purchases by month. If I want to look at my top 10 products by revenue, and all of these pieces are interactive. If I choose high-end speaker, it's going to show me all of the customers that purchase this high-end speaker. I can just click on it again. If I look at top 10 customers by revenue and I choose Contoso Europe, and I click on Contoso Europe, it's going to show me the top 10 products by revenue or that they purchase. So a lot of great capabilities, being able to click on these different graphs, being able to drill into a number of these capabilities. And I did want to show you from a financial reporting standpoint, Management Reporter is the base reporting engine, the core reporting engine for D365 for operations. But what is new is Microsoft has actually added these financial reports directly into a number of these workspaces. So I'll just choose on 12-month trend income statement. It's going to pull up our Management Reporter report directly within the workspace. I still have the ability to do a drill down. I can drill in on the columns. In this case, I just took that 12-month trend, I broke it down to a column base, and it's showing me all of my income based on month. And then additionally, the capability to click into a balance and dive into a particular voucher or transaction. I'll just choose voucher transaction. I'll choose original document. And sure enough, I can work my way back from a Power BI dashboard on a workspace that has a financial statement and drill into this particular transaction and getting down to the whole subledger level. So I'll just go ahead and choose view details. In this case, it was an invoice journal for these particular two products that I have. It shows us our prices, our amounts. So I have that drill down capability right at my fingertips from within the workspace. So did want to just talk through the ability to be able to drill down through financial statements through a workspace. The last piece I wanted to cover, I just showed you kind of the workspace for CFO Overview in those Power BI areas, but the ability to also use the Power BI application and use what's called natural query language. For those of you that aren't familiar, natural query language is the ability to drill into your data ad hoc. I know a lot of people have custom reports either built or utilize Power BI or some other reporting engine to come in and run a report on a consistent basis, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly, or even annually. But what if I want to query my data based on based on some data that for that day I want to get an answer to, or I want to do some research into. In this case, we're looking at a procurement analysis Power BI workspace. If I just wanted to look at total invoice dollar amount, I choose total invoice. It's going to bring up our total invoices. But if I wanted to look up total invoice by vendor, and as you can see, I'm typing, there are some great suggestions that automatically pop up that help me guide my ad hoc reporting drill down. So if I wanted to look at total invoice by vendor, if let's say I wanted to just limit that by California, I can do that. Now I'm looking at my total invoices by vendor within the state of California, or if I wanted to look at by vendor in New York. it's going to automatically adjust to all of my different vendors and total invoices. I'm able to view on a graph, what this entails. Okay, I have 1.854 million for Silverdax. I can also take my my natural query language to say total invoice by vendor in California, I could say, and New York. And sure enough, it's going to break it down. It's going to pull both of them out, and it's going to segregate California and New York. So I get that visibility to drill down into this data real time. So that was about all I had for today's demo. I know we covered a lot of information, and if there's additional questions you might have, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to work with you to address any concerns or any additional questions you have about the navigation, any of the content we talked about today, particularly those task guides and those work streams as part of our Rapid 365 solution. We are seeing a lot of our customers using Rapid as a base, as those task guides, as a boilerplate template for core financials, and then adding on a number of different functionalities or work streams above and beyond, whether that's inventory or production, warehouse management, budgeting. There's a lot of capabilities within the software. Did not cover today. Just wanted to go over the basic user interface and navigation within the system and show you some of the features and capabilities. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end my presentation and turn it back over to Josh.
Thanks, Chris. I think at this time we do not have any questions lined up, and I know you need to jump. So I will follow up with everyone after this call with the link to the recording. If you do have any questions for Chris or myself, feel free to reply to that email, and I'll make sure we get your questions to the right individual. Thanks again, everyone, for your time, and we hope you have a great day.